In South Africa, game rangers stand up to poachers almost daily as they battle to end the decimation of our wildlife, ranging from rhino and abalone to the illegal removal of plants such as cycads and proteas. And to commemorate rangers who were killed or injured in the line of duty and to celebrate the protection work they do, today marks World Ranger Day 2018. And the day is, of course, one that was started in 2007 and is observed annually and promoted by the 63 member associations of the International Ranger Federation, which includes South Africa's Department of Environmental Affairs. And to talk to us about this more, we're joined from our Pretoria studio by Minister Edna Molewa, who is the Minister of Environmental Affairs. Minister, good morning, and thanks so much for speaking to us here on Morning Live on this very important day.
Thank you very much for having me, SK. This is indeed a very important day as we join the world, as you rightfully said, that this is a day that the entire world actually celebrates, not even celebrate, but commemorate, because this is so important for us. We have no words to express our gratitude to our rangers throughout the world and here in South Africa as well, for the work that they do. I mean, the fact that we are, as South Africa, such a leading country in conservation is actually due to them. They join the conservation area and field to ensure that our fauna and flora is preserved. The success that we have right now is actually due to them. And recently we've seen that indeed they have been facing very, very difficult times as they are facing the poachers on a daily basis. We are now even actually getting into their militarization, which is not the job that they joined this work to do. They were joining the conservation space to conserve our fauna and flora. But every day there are those who are poaching, whether it's cycads, whether the killing of animals here in South Africa, the rhino. And I was looking at the numbers of those who actually passed on in a space of 12 months worldwide. It's quite a high number. And that is even besides the number that has actually been recorded. There are those who have not been reported yet. But yes, we remember this day. We are saying a big thank you to them. There is throughout the world countries actually that are holding awards ceremonies. Here in South Africa, we have 2 of such awards where we are saying a big thank you to those of our rangers. But we cannot say to only a few, but to all of them, a big thank you.
Absolutely, Minister. Minister, would you say, though, that the department is winning this war against what seems in the main to be organized crime to decimate our natural resources here?
It is actually very good, Sakina, that you use that word called organized crime. What our rangers are facing is indeed organized crime. And you know, organized crime people operates in many spaces. They are in drug dealing, they are in human trafficking, they are in all sorts of these big illegal things that they do, criminal. And they operate not only in South Africa, but worldwide as a syndicate. So it is a very extremely difficult task that we are facing to fight people that you know are not quite seated here in South Africa, but elsewhere, because the kingpins are not necessarily here with us, especially those who are sending our people, our own people, by the way, I'm saying ordinary people who are being taken advantage of to kill and get into the conservation spaces and kill our rangers. So yes, we are trying hard. For the past few, I think 2 years or so, we have established a downward trend of poaching, and we have begun to see the numbers that are being poached, the numbers of rhinos that are being killed beginning to dwindle down, and we have established a trend that's downward, but still not enough. 1 rhino is too much. Just this past weekly, and you'd recall that we lost a ranger, of course quite a few of them, 2 or 3 or so, in the past 2 years or so. But this specific case that I'm referring to of a man that we're burying this past weekend is a case that happened to be one there where a ranger has actually been shot at and killed by poachers. Others are accidents, like those who are perhaps bitten by snakes and so forth. Those accidents, one, are equally very sad cases. But this one that we were bearing a person throughout the weekend, during this weekend from is actually very saddening. Because that one has been killed by poachers. Not that others are unimportant, but we are saying to this, our rangers, be careful as you work in there, but ensure that as you take care of yourselves, let's deal with these poachers, because on the outside, we are working with our communities as well, in and around the parks in Mozambique as well, to ensure that there's a pushback, particularly from the Kruger National Park, because that's where we are really hard hit. Pushback from getting into the park, so that communities help us to find these people even before they get into the park. We're doing our best to get technologies. Right now we're using mechanisms, technology mechanisms that are helping us a great deal to actually deal with this poaching. We're working with the international world, where these the user countries and the transit countries are, to ensure that they help us to mobilize our people there against poaching and against the use of rhino horn in particular, because if we don't push back there, people will still be coming from that end, and we will just be fighting a battle here in South Africa. So our ranger community is doing very important work, but we are supporting them. The police integrated strategic approach as a strategy that we have that was adopted by Cabinet, we believe is actually beginning to bear fruit. So we need to increase technology and other innovative methods.
Thank you so much, Minister Edna Molewa there. And she is the Minister of Environmental Affairs, talking to us about World Ranger Day. Very important day on our calendar. Well, that takes us into the 8 o'clock news. And Zimbabwe's opposition MDC Alliance leader Nelson Chamisa is claiming a resounding victory in the country's landmark election. Now, the claim on his Twitter account, however, does not tie in with the official vote counting process that is currently underway. Chamisa and